it'll give you the option to record on this computer or record to cloud. Does it give you that option?
It just says it's recording, which I think I recorded one of our calls before, and it just saved.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Well, we're gonna get started. So I don't remember what day it is. August 23rd, 22nd.
20th.
Yep, that's good. So this is the Team R&R team call, and before we get started with our guest, I'm just gonna share a couple announcements. I know that there's going to be people watching this replay as well, so this is for those of us who are here and those watching the replay. Jen and Alyssa and I have connected about a new call time and kind of put it out there, but we're going to move to Thursdays at 8:30, 8:30 to 9:15 or so. So just mark that on your calendar as a recurring event, and I'm just going to go ahead and say that this Thursday I will be available. Jen and Alyssa and I haven't talked about it, but I'm at least available. So we'll plan to start something on Thursday. The All Access Challenge Pack has been extended through September. So make sure you read your breaking news so that you're aware of those kinds of things. Also, last week's National Wake Up Call, if you have not checked it out, is I think really pertinent to this topic that we're going to talk about today. So I would encourage you to check it out. Just got some great tools and tips, and I thought it was great. Last announcement type thing, if you didn't see my post in our team page about making your list of 10 things that you're passionate about, excited about, like to do for fun, go ahead and check that out and chime in. I would love it if we would all, if people who want to, if we'd all be running free groups at the same time in September to do it together and just kind of add value to people's lives, build relationships, and connect with other people who share similar interests with you. Last thing, I just want to give a shout out to Elizabeth, which I did on the team page, but for your awesome invitation for your free group. And then also Sarah Scott did a really good vulnerable post. She's not on yet, but earlier, might have been yesterday or today that I caught it, but just kind of sharing that she's been walking through some rough stuff, but that she realizes the need to practice self-care and just inviting people to join her in that. So I thought that was bold and brave, and I loved it. So anyway, I'm excited to introduce Danny Kenny, who is my coach as of the last month or so. But she's awesome. It is her passion to work with women in business, especially moms, but not just moms. And she's a certified life coach and I'll let you share a little bit about your business-wise.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Super excited.
I'm so excited to be here, guys. Before I want to take just like 1 or 2 minutes to tell you a little bit about myself, so you have an idea of kind of where I'm coming from and where all this information is coming from. But I want to take a quick minute before that just to acknowledge each and every one of you. It's Sunday night, guys. There's a lot of different things you could be doing. There's a lot of different places you could be. And one of those places could be like snuggling with your kids or kicking your feet up on the couch and watching your favorite Netflix series. But you're not doing any of those things. Maybe if you're watching the recording, and that's okay, but you're still watching the recording. But so you took the time to be here, and I want to acknowledge you for that. And just for saying yes to running your own business, to being committed to transforming your lives along with the lives of so many other people. And then I want to acknowledge Emily. I've been coaching for about 4 years. Most of my focus is on women and moms in business. 50% of my clientele are women and moms in the direct sales industry, lots of different companies. So I'm very familiar with Beachbody. It's a brilliant company. I have clients, friends, and family who love it. I've used their products. I do use their products. My husband uses Beachbody products. So I know that what you guys have going on is amazing. And then the other 50% of my clients are they have products or services that they're kind of creating from scratch. So I have experience coaching women and moms in both of those industries. But out of all of the people I've coached, there's something really special about Emily, and you don't need me to tell you that. But I just wanted to say that because I do get to work with so many incredible people and take a peek inside of their businesses and the way that they do things. And again, I know a lot of Beachbody coaches, but I know that a lot of them don't lead and love and serve the way that Emily does. And I know that Jennifer is also one of your leaders, and I'm sure you're amazing as well. But so I wanted to start with those acknowledgments, and now shifting over to me. So my official title is I'm an international business strategist, which sounds so fun and so fancy. And it basically means I've had the opportunity of helping women and moms all over the world in different areas of their life, and more importantly, for where my area of expertise comes in their business. So again, a minute ago, I mentioned that I've been doing this for about 4 years. So before that, I had a regular 9-to-5 job that I loved. It was in the area of leadership and business development. I got my bachelor's degree in business administration. So this is what I went to school for. I helped build up, I'm in California, which explains the sunlight behind me. So I'm 3 hours behind a lot of you, or 2 if you're in Central Standard Time. But I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area now. This is where I grew up. But for the last 11 years, I was in San Diego, and there's a really large franchise. It wasn't so large when I started working for them. It's a chain of spas and salons, and I got in when they were really small and helped them build, and helped hire new managers, bring in new franchisees. So it was really fun because this is what I was going to school for when I was in college. And part of my experience was helping business owners build their businesses, real brick and mortar businesses. When I left, when I first started, I think we had 18 stores. By the time I left, we had 36. And I got to help build and do the opening for one of the largest salons, which was a $3 million project. So that was a big deal. And then when I became a mom 4 years ago, my oldest just turned 4 and my youngest will be 2 in a couple of weeks. So if any of you are moms, I totally get it. It's not easy building a business when you have babies and other things going on. But when I became a mom, I kind of instantly knew, and a lot of people that I talked to, a lot of friends and clients experience this, that the 9-to-5 way of life, even if you liked your job and you loved what you did, it doesn't always work when you become a mom. And that's what happened with me. And so I basically took the things that I loved about my job, what I was doing to help build the businesses and build the teams, and I decided I was going to try to do it on my own, meaning helping business owners. Like I was going to be like an independent contractor. So I had all of my experience, I had my degree, but I really wanted to call myself a coach. So like Emily said, I went back to school, I got certified as a life and career coach. And so I help moms and women build their business. And I do it in a really holistic way. So what that means is we do talk a little bit about what's going on in your life. We talk about your routines. We talk about self-care, because if those things aren't working, then chances are your business is not going to work. So just a little bit, right? Emily's like, yes, I see a lot of nods. We all get this. We've all been there. And so that's just a little bit about my experience and what I do. But I want to really focus on the topic for tonight. So if you guys want to know anything else about me, if we have time at the end, you can pop them in the chat box as a Q&A. You can raise your hand. One of the things that I want to offer you at the end, and I never say this in the beginning, but I'm just excited to be here, for anyone who feels like this conversation is relevant and it really resonates and you want to take it a little bit further, I'm going to gift each of you a one-on-one coaching session. And so in that coaching session as well, like if there's anything else that I said that you can relate to, or you want to know more, you're trying to kind of do what I was doing in terms of if some of you have 9-to-5 jobs and you want to break free, that's scary. And I've done it. And so I can help you with that. So keep that in mind. So there will be a way to talk outside of this as well. But the conversation tonight is all about overcoming fear. And when I talk about this, it's using fear to move your business forward. But a lot of these tools, you can apply them to any area of your life. But because I love talking to entrepreneurs and I love talking about business, that's really going to be the focal point for tonight. And this is really important. So just to give you guys an idea of I've been coaching for 4 years. At the very beginning of last year, I can't believe 2017 is almost over. Like, we're going into the fourth quarter. This is crazy. So almost 2 years ago, Emily's face, almost 2 years ago, was January of last year. That's when I decided I really want to focus solely on business, and I really want to be working with moms, because I was working with all different sorts of people. It was men and women, and then I knew it was just women, and I really wanted to get laser focused. And I was finding that the clients who were getting the best results and the clients who I had the most fun working with were women and moms in business. And so I started doing some market research. Just to give you an idea of that, I have a notebook. I think I have so many notebooks around me right now, but it's just a 5-star notebook. It has 180 pages, and I recently filled it up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is 180 market research conversations that I've had in the last year. That's a lot of conversations. That's a lot of time. And this was literally just talking to women and moms in business. And one of the questions that I ask every single mom that I talk to, and should any of us get on a one-on-one conversation or do the coaching call, I'm going to ask you this too. One of the things I'd say is, when it comes to building your business, or when it comes to leaving your job, if that was the topic, what is the number one thing you struggle with? And there was always kind of a couple of different answers, but the one thing that almost always came up was some version of fear. Like, it was either the word fear or the response that came out. We were able to boil it down to, like, so you're scared, so it's fear. And after about 80 of these conversations, I started to get like passionately angry. Like, fear is stopping so many extraordinary women and moms from doing what they really want to do. We need to do something about this. So I started, it's a monthly event called the Fearless Mom Circle. I've started this whole community called the Fearless Mom Tribe. But through all of this, I've really been able to kind of test these tools out that I'm going to share with you in my own life, in my own business, with my clients. And I found that there's so many things you can do, but I did my best to narrow it down to 4 things. So I'm going to share these 4 things with you tonight. But before we go into the tools, I want to take like 2 or 3 minutes, and we're going to do a little like meditation / visualization. So if you're driving, don't close your eyes. If you're stopped, you can close your eyes. But I want you to just take a minute to close your eyes. If you have anything in your hand, just set it down. Set it down next to you. Have your hands. You guys are amazing. You all were taking notes, because I saw everyone's notebooks go down to the side. And then just gently close your eyes. Kind of settle into your seat. Allow yourself to get really comfortable. And take a couple of deep breaths. You're muted, so if you breathe really loud, no one can laugh at you. No one's judging you. So breathe really deep in. Take some full, generous inhales, breathing in as much as you can. Making sure you fully exhale, so you're releasing every breath before you take in your next breath. And in this quiet, calm, peaceful place, I want you to imagine what your business would look like if you were operating it and running it from a place of fearlessness. So fearlessness means that there's always going to be a little bit of fear there, but you feel equipped, you feel inspired, you feel prepared to move forward beyond the fear. So what would your business, and if it feels good for you, you can even look at what your life would look like overall, if you were approaching your business and your life from a place of fearlessness. Notice how it would look different from where you are right now. Kind of think about what your day would look like. Would your day start differently than it does right now if you were approaching your life and your business from a place of fearlessness, bold, inspired action? In what ways would your business grow if you were coming from a place of true fearlessness and excitement and enthusiasm? that sense that you are unstoppable. If that feeling was pulsing through your body every waking minute of every day, how might your business and your life look a little bit differently? Would you spend more time working on your business? Would you be finding creative ways to network? Would you be following up with people that maybe you've been too scared to follow up with? Would you be putting yourself out there in ways that scare you, maybe using Facebook Live, sharing things vulnerably on social media or through your newsletters? Just notice all of that and take it in. Take a few more deep breaths and know that everything that you saw and you felt about what is possible when you're operating from a place of bold, inspired, fearless action, know that it is possible and it is available for you. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about tonight. So take a few more deep breaths. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So as you start to come back, feel free to grab your pen and paper again. And if there was anything that came up for you that you wanted to take note of, you can. I had a client who we did something similar one-on-one. She was feeling really stuck in her business. And when I said, well, what would it look like if you were really coming from a place of fearlessness? In her case, just so you know, she's a realtor. She's also a personal trainer, so she's really into health and fitness, but it was for her real estate business. And she was like, I'd be waking up earlier. I'd actually be getting ready because the better I look, the better I feel. She said she would have like more solid office hours. So just that one question of what would your business look like if you're coming and operating from a place of fearlessness, like how would that be different? Those were 3 things that came to mind right away that we then had her take. And as her coach, I held her accountable for this. And in a matter of weeks, she was getting bigger and better deals just from these little distinctions. And you guys know how important mindset is, which is why I'm here and why Emily and Jennifer have these calls, because it's all about staying in that mindset, that vibration. And so if anything came up, if anything came up when I was asking you that question, I want you to just take a minute to write it down. But the first thing that I want to share with you, this is really fun, and I'm going to send this to you. I pulled up all these things, and this was the one thing that I didn't pull up, so I'm going to pull it up right now. But it's a really fun document, and it's called The Fearless Mom's Guide to Overcoming Fear, which is a little redundant, and I'm not super creative with naming, but it's super simple. And it's basically something that I was using for myself in the very beginning of my business when I was like, okay, if I want this to work, and it wasn't even about wanting it to work. It was like, I needed this to work. My family needed my business to work in order for us to reach the goals that we wanted to reach. And for me to ultimately be able to stay at home with my kids and have the time and financial freedom that I wanted. And so it's 3 super simple questions. So I'm going to do a screen share. And again, I'll share the link so you can grab this. You can snag this for yourself. But it's really fun. So I actually want to read this to you out loud because I don't reflect on this that often, but I created this all on my own and I really like it every time I read it. So it says, fear is simply an indicator that you're getting ready to step out of your comfort zone and into new unexplored territory. So with that definition, fear is a good thing. Like fear is literally, it's just our reptilian brain trying to protect us. Like, oh no, Emily, Jennifer, don't do that thing. You might fall down. You might get hurt. Someone might laugh at you. And so it's part of our ego, our like ego mind, our fear-based brain trying to protect us. So fear is a good thing. Fear is like an overprotective parent. But what it doesn't understand is like me picking up the phone to follow up with a prospective client, like nothing that bad can happen. The worst that could happen is she's going to say no, or she's not, she's just going to say, I'm not interested. So know that fear is just a sign that you're getting ready to step out of your comfort zone. A really great book that I have the audio, it's by an author. His name is Steven Pressfield, and I'll share the link. This always happens when I'm talking. I like think of other resources. It's by Steven Pressfield, and it's called the War of Arts, and it's all about overcoming your creative blocks. The whole gist of the book is noticing fear and how to deal with it. And it's really helpful. I try to listen to it on audio like once every 6 months, and my business grows exponentially every time I take the 2 hours to listen to that on my commutes. And so he talks about this, but it says growth, excitement, self-discovery, opportunity, and the magic that life has to offer is found when we have the courage to step out of our comfort zone, when we're willing to push our own boundaries and step into what we're meant to be. So I've gotten in the habit where most of the time, not all of the time, when I start to experience fear, I'm like, I got to do it. Someone calls with a crazy cool opportunity and I'm like, oh no, what if I blow it? What if I can't do it? Who are the other speakers? Who are the other coaches? What if they're better than me? And before I can let that like ego, fear-based mind take over, I'm like, yes, I'll do it. Hang up. And I'm like, okay, now I have to figure it out. So a lot of times it's good to get in that habit of when you feel that kind of like anxious fear come up and you look at the opportunity and you're like, if I can pull this off, this is going to be amazing. Just say yes. And I promise you'll figure it out. You will figure it out. And so this whole exercise, you can do this in any area of your life. I don't want to take the time to do it now because I want to make sure we have time for all 4 tools, but I'll share this with you so you can print it out. But the way you would use this is think about any area of your life where you're feeling stuck, unhappy, unfulfilled. And then you want to ask yourself these questions. So one of my goals as a coach, especially a coach for female entrepreneurs and moms, is to keep the tools and systems that I create for myself and that I share with my clients super, super simple. Because if it's not simple, it's not going to work for us. We're not going to take the time to do it. So most of my clients know that like whenever we're creating something new, I'm like, let's see if we can break this down into 2 or 3 super easy steps, things you can remember. And so typically when I do this talk, I don't even need to use this guide because the questions are top of mind. I use them so often, but I wanted to go through this with you. So the first question is, and the idea is you'd want to think about this question or write it down and then take a few minutes to journal out the answer. And it's going to be so powerful. The other thing kind of along with this that I don't think I have included in here, but what I found through using this tool is a lot of times the thing that we're most scared of, we're scared of it because we don't have clarity around it. Like there's so much uncertainty and it's like these thoughts and these ideas are swirling around in our head and they're really big and scary. But when you take the time to break it down, you're like, oh my gosh, I've been putting this thing off for 18 months. And now that I'm really looking at it, it's not that bad. So this can help you with that. This will help you bring clarity to what is actually going on. So let's say, for instance, let's use, I like the idea of using Facebook Live. As the example, because I know that Facebook Live is a brilliant tool for building business. It's not for everyone. So if I'm saying this and you're just disgusted, then use this for like, following up with clients or doing your challenges or like putting yourself out there, right? Everything I'm going to talk about is going to come down to connecting with other people because that's how you build a successful business. But Facebook Live is a brilliant tool to build your business. So many people are good at it. They're just scared, right? It's scary. You're putting yourself out there in a new way. So when it comes to doing Facebook Live, like what are you really afraid of? And if you guys want to do this on your own with something else really quickly, you can and come back to it. That's fine. So you want to write down every fear you can think of around like the one thing. So for Facebook Lives, what am I really afraid of? And I had this fear. I use Facebook Live a lot for my business now, but there was a time when I didn't. There was a time when I knew I should, but I was too scared. So I was scared that I would say the wrong thing. I was scared that I would look dumb. I was scared that people wouldn't like or resonate with my message. I was scared that there'd be like a logistical problem, like my like the internet would stop, or like maybe this is silly, but like maybe my bra was showing and I didn't realize it till like after, or like my camera fell, right? Like I have a tripod and the camera fell. So I've said dumb things before. I've said the wrong thing before. I'm sure my message doesn't resonate with people all the time. There was a time when I was holding a book and I was doing a Facebook Live and I hit myself in the head with it. And I just kept going. So like all of the things I was afraid of have totally happened. And all you do is laugh and they're not that bad. And people like you even more because they're like, she's normal. She's a human. Like she just made a fool out of herself and she keeps going. Like that's what matters. So most of the time what happens here, it says hint. The things that you're really truly afraid of are either not that bad or not as scary as they seem. And so this is actually really fun because you start to kind of laugh at yourself like, I can't believe I'm not scared of this. And then the next thing is what's the worst thing that can happen? And so I just went through like the list of what I was afraid of was the worst that could happen when I'm doing Facebook Live. And guess what? All of those things totally happened. And they're probably going to happen again and again. But that's okay. My message is getting out there to so many more people. I'm finding my peeps. I'm like finding my tribe, and like the people who need me can now have access to me in a way that they didn't before. So the worst of the worst has happened. It will continue to happen, but what I'm getting out of it is so much greater than that. And then number 3, and this is the one that can be kind of emotional. What's the cost of not doing it? So if I had never, this is actually really heavy. I did my first Facebook Live last June. I think I've done close to 200 of them since then, like on my personal page, in groups, like I have a couple different groups and challenges that I do and being featured elsewhere. So close to 200 of them. They've had to have been viewed like 15,000 times, I would venture to guess, or more. And so I've gotten so many incredible clients. Guess how Emily and Danny met? Facebook Live. The clients, all the clients I've signed in the last year, if they didn't come directly from Facebook Live, it was a Facebook Live that finally got them to reach out to me and say, okay, I'm ready to work with you. I want to learn more. I want whatever it is that you have to give. So the cost of me not stepping out and having the courage to do that first Facebook Live, literally there would be a monetary cost. I would probably half of my business, I would not have in terms of money. I know for a fact that in the last year, Facebook Lives alone have generated at least $20,000 in my business, probably more. And then even bigger than that is these women and moms whose lives have now been transformed and businesses have grown exponentially. They would have never found me. And that is scary. That is like kind of a gut-wrenching thought. So that would be the cost of not doing it. And then what you find as you go through this is you start to look at the worst, what you're really afraid of, and the worst thing that can happen is nothing. It's minimal compared to the cost of not doing it, the cost of not sharing your message, the cost of not allowing yourself to help the people that you're here to help. And I can almost guarantee that if you're using this as a tool for your business, it's all going to be the fear of connecting with people, the fear of being seen, worrying about what people are thinking about you. And the cost is people who want you, who need you, the people who God literally created you to help, they can't find you. That is a problem. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share with you. This is the tool. I'll share the link so you can get this. And the final thing I put here is remember that overcoming fear is a practice. So it's so scary in the very beginning, but the more you do it, the easier it gets, the more fun you'll have. And that something really interesting is biologically or physiologically in our brains, the brain response to fear, like the brain synapses that generate fear, it's just one, like there's one little difference between that and excitement. And they're so close together that we can easily confuse the two. So what happens is when you start practicing fear, especially when it comes to taking inspired action in your life and your business, you're able to start rewiring your brain to see the fear as excitement, where like those nervous butterflies that you get, it's literally just excitement. And it lets you, like, I feel that way before I was going live with you guys. I do this all the time. I do it with clients, but my heart is so in it and I want to be such a big contribution that I think a year ago, something like this would have scared me. And I still have the butterflies in my tummy, but now it's just like an excited energy. And all of that came from just practicing this. So I wanted to share that with you. Before we go on, again, I went through this really quickly, so you want to print this out and kind of go through this on your own. Does anyone have questions about this before we move on? Sort of self-explanatory. I did a really good job of creating it. I put my heart and soul into everything I make. Okay, so the next one, and this is the perfect segue, and I did this on purpose. Remember that it's not about you. It's never about you. Your business, not about you. It's about helping other people. It's about being of service. It's about being a tool and a resource. And my business partner, who is amazing, her name's Patricia, and we have a group coaching program together called Successful Mama Mastermind. One day I was having a breakdown. I was really scared of something, and she gave me an analogy that was amazing. Yes, I'll share the links for everything. She gave me an analogy of when you're in a place of fear. So imagine we have this a flashlight, right? And the light is shining up. When you're in a place of fear, it's because you're holding the light on yourself. And all you can see is you. And it's all about you. You're in your head. You're noticing all your flaws and all your imperfections. And the number one way to overcome fear is to imagine that you're taking that flashlight, you're taking it off of yourself, and you're now facing in front of you. And what you see in front of you is all of the people who you're here to help and you're here to serve. And suddenly, like, you're not in the spotlight anymore. You're not the center of your attention. When you're focused on who you're here to help, how you're here to help them, there's not a whole, this is so true, there's not a whole lot of room. There's not a whole lot of time to focus on fear because your mission and your purpose is so much bigger. And so, you know, I have moments, and you guys probably experience this too. As an entrepreneur, I say you feel all the feels. Like, I have been happier and more joyful in the last 4 years than I could have ever been working for someone else, just kind of doing the 9-to-5 thing, which was fun. But I've also felt depths of like fear and sadness and even depression, right? Because so much of what we do, like, we are our business. People are choosing us. And even though, like, I have my life coaching practice and you guys have the foundation of Beachbody, people are still investing in you. And so that can be scary. And that makes it really easy to put the flashlight on yourself when you have someone like me telling you that. But the second you start to realize, okay, if I don't make that phone call, if I don't do that workshop, if I don't host that challenge, if I don't follow up with those people, they're not going to get what they need. Like, I don't get to show up in the fullest, most authentic version of myself. I don't get to be the powerhouse that I know that I am. That is a really good reframe. So whenever you start to get swept up in fear, 99% of the time, ask yourself, okay, in this moment of fear, who am I really focused on? Am I focusing on myself, or am I focusing on the people that I'm here to help? And in some cases, you know, if you have families, it might be hard to think of the clients and the people if they're not right in front of you. Think about the little people in your house that you're doing this for. Like, then it's still not about you. It's about something bigger. It's about something outside of you. And so that's always really helpful. And it's a good little kick in the butt. Like, Danny, the world doesn't revolve around you. You're like, okay, yeah, I forgot. Like, I'm here. I'm doing something big. So remember, it's not about you. And in those moments of fear, ask yourself, am I flashing? Is the flashlight pointing at me, or is it at the people who God has placed me on this earth to help and to serve? And most of the time you're like, okay, I need to just shift the flashlight, little reframe there. So remember that it's not about you, and that'll help you shift out of fear really quickly. The next one, so Tony Robbins, you guys know who that is, right? We all know who Tony Robbins is. Tony, to be honest, I'm not a huge Tony Robbins fan. He, like, I don't know, neither here nor there, but his stuff works. He's amazing at what he does. He has all of his big events. I would probably invest that in like going to see someone else live. Like, that's what I mean by not a huge Tony Robbins fan, but I love his videos. I love his messages. But one of the things that he talks about, I'm sure lots of people talk about it, but I hear him talk about it the most. And I know he's actually really good at this. He has a Netflix documentary. Have you guys seen it? Have any of you seen his documentary? I don't know that I'd watch it. He has a really foul mouth, and he has an interesting way of doing things, but tool number 3 is called getting into state. So he is nuts. Like, you guys, when he wakes up, he has this thing. He does something with his fingers. It's called the breath of fire. So he does his fingers in a certain way, and it's like, you have to Google it, but it like does this crazy thing inside of your body. It gets you fired up. He goes in like ice cold pools of water before all of it like submerges his body. He does these crazy things to his body because it really does get you fired up. And like, I like to do this stuff too. So I happen to be going for a walk with my daughters right before this. And this is how I am all the time when I'm talking. But like, I was outside, the wind was blowing in my hair, like I wasn't super distracted. And so I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to go do this thing, right? Meaning talk to you, brilliant group of women. But so there's different ways to get into state. And this is really super important. And Emily and I were talking about this. I keep wanting to call you Elizabeth. Elizabeth is throwing me off. You're both in my top corners here. We were talking about this the other day. So like attracts like, right? Like, we hear about the law of attraction and like manifesting, all of that stuff. So the law of attraction, and I didn't know what that was before I started coaching, and I heard other coaches talking about it. I'm like, what is all this stuff? And so when I hear something and I'm interested, I start doing a lot of research, and I like to educate myself. And so the law of attraction is a very real thing. So much so that it's physics, it's science. And the simplest way to describe this is there's an energy, and our energy is always shifting, right? But we are constantly, everything's energy. Everything around us is made of energetic particles, but we are generating and sending out a certain vibration every minute of every day. And so what happens is the things that you call into your life are an energetic match. So if the energy that you put into your business is very important. If you're getting ready to do a Facebook Live or a Facebook post, and you just got in a fight with your husband, or your toddler was throwing a fit at your feet, or something terrible happened at work that day, and you go live, you could feel like you're on it, but there's going to be something off. Like, people might, when you're just feeling off, you're having these off days, people can feel that. Even if you're not going live, like, there's a certain energy that when you're typing out a post, there's an energy that is on you that is now coming off onto your keyboard, and is going to be on some like underlying level, is going to be attached to everything that you're putting out there. And this is why a lot of entrepreneurs, like, the words are great, the pictures are great, but there's something off. And it all comes back to their own energetic state and their own energetic vibration. And so the tool that I want to share with you, so get into state. I'm going to take this a bit further. So getting into state means get into a really positive energetic vibration. One of the number one ways to do that is to move your body. Literally, like Tony Robbins is up to something, bounce around, like shake it, put on your favorite music. Music is one of the number one ways to quickly shift your energy. And I know that every single one of you agree with that, because you could be in the worst mood. You could be so angry, and Justin Timberlake's Can't Stop the Feeling comes on, and you're like, oh. And then like the song's over, and all of a sudden you and your kids are laughing and you feel so much better. So there are quick, easy ways to shift your energy. So sometimes shifting your energy. It might be like putting a Band-Aid on, because right, like the thing is still going to be there, the situation, the sadness, the heaviness. But when you're getting ready to do something in your business, even if it's just typing up a Facebook post, especially when you're with your kids, like kids just are like little energy sponges. You want to make sure that you're doing things that put you in a state where you feel good, literally raising your vibration, right? And so I want to show you something super cool, and I'll share this with you as well. I don't have a fancy link to this, but I'll make sure that Emily gets this. Let me do a screen share. So I created this for myself. And I have my clients, several of my clients have done this before. This is part of one of the group coaching things that I do. Let's see. Oh, wrong tab. Here we go. Okay. Oh, this is what we were talking about. So the whole, like, I like when I have visuals of things. And so when I first started hearing, this isn't what I was going to show you, but it's here, so I'll explain it really quickly. This is a scale of vibrational, like a way to measure vibration. It was created by a man named David Hawkins. And so this was really helpful the first time. I heard about energy and how it works and your energetic vibration and why it's so important. I was hearing about it for a couple of years, and I liked how all of it sounded. I liked the idea of law of attraction and like attracts like and all that stuff. But then when I actually saw this for the first time, this scale that was created by David Hawkins, where you can literally, there's a tool that can measure energetic vibration, it really shows you kind of like, okay, so it's so interesting, and this is a whole nother conversation, but really quickly, when something happens, someone you love dies, you go through a divorce or a breakup, or your kid, I can't tell you, my kids are so young, but I feel like we've had more trips to urgent care than necessary at this young age. The energy that happens, so literally, like, notice in your body all the things I just said. I don't know about you, but my shoulders are like wanting to come down, like it's heavy, and my body is contracting. So what's interesting about this is if you look at the scale, I'm talking like maybe this would be grief or apathy, all the stuff I'm talking about, even anger. What happens is the lower on the scale you go, the heavier, literally your energy is heavier and it's more dense. So it moves really slow. Your body feels contracted. You literally feel sluggish, right? Like when something really crappy happens in your life, you don't want to get out of bed. Well, because your energy is literally holding you in bed because it's heavy and it's dense and you're tired. But then what happens also, so take a minute to think about someone you love. Right this minute, think about someone or the people you love. Breathe them in, breathe in the love that you have for them, smell them, feel them, hold them. My 2-year-old, I can feel a little cheek on my face. Breathe that in, feel that. Now, what's happening there is all of a sudden we feel really light. We feel like, do you see my shoulders now? I didn't do that on purpose. Now my shoulders are back here. Like I feel kind of airy, kind of floaty. So what happened was we went in just a matter of moments, as an example to show you, we took our energy from like really slow, small, dense vibration to something that moves faster. It's lighter, it's more expansive, it's bigger. Right? And so when you see people who just have a good vibe, they're good vibe people, they're literally vibrating higher, which is why you're like, I don't know, I just get good vibes from that person because they have good vibes. And so this is the scale by David Hawkins that literally shows you the science behind this and where different vibrational pieces fall. Again, I could talk about this all day long. So if you want to chat one-on-one, we can. The thing that I wanted to show you though, so this is my own high vibe survival kit. So what this means is if I'm feeling poopy and I have a client call to do, and these clients are investing in me and I need to be on my A game, I got to switch it around real quick. So all of these are amazing. So these are different links to videos that I find insanely inspiring, to where when I watch them, I'm like, oh yeah, I've got this. I'm awesome. I feel good. They get me back in my body. They remind me of my power and my strength and who I am. So I'll share this with you. and then I have all these songs. So Can't Stop the Feeling is the first one because that's such a high vibe song. You all know it. And then all these other cool videos that I like. And so this is, call a friend, say a prayer, go outside, take a break, focus on self-care. So I'll share this with you, but it's a good idea. So again, coming back to this, step number 3, tool number 3 is get into state. So if that looks like it's getting into your body, it's raising your vibration. So if you already know what that looks like, great. If you don't, take it a step further and print out my high vibe. Like maybe the stuff that gets me feeling good is the same stuff that gets you feeling good. You can take it, you can use it. I want this call and I want this information to make a difference for you, or make your own. Use mine as a template, kind of go through, think about your favorite songs, think about really inspirational videos, think about the people who can pick you up in a moment's notice. I think we all, if we're lucky enough, have those people, okay? So last and not least, tool number 4 is your power moment. Your power moment. And this is where I wish we had an extra hour together because I want to know what all of yours are. And maybe you can share with this in your Facebook group. Take a moment right now. I want you to think about a moment when you felt more powerful than ever. You had some superhuman capabilities, superhuman strength. It literally felt like God and the power of the universe just like took over your body to allow you to do this thing. So for a lot of us, if you're moms, a lot of it is giving birth. But if you're not a mom, a lot of it's probably going to be physical stuff. Like I've never ran a marathon. I've run a couple of half marathons, and every time I cross the finish line after 13.1 miles, I'm like, I will never do a full marathon. That is the first thing that comes out of my mouth. But like, before I was a mom and I was a runner, that feeling, have you guys ever crossed the finish line of like a 5K or 10K? Oh, that feeling is so amazing. You feel so powerful. You feel so strong. You feel unstoppable. You worked so hard and you did it. And a lot of us, once we feel that feeling, we find ways to do it again and again and again. So what I'm sharing with you is I want you, if you can right now, and most of the time when I do this with people, either in groups or one-on-one, when I say, what was that moment when you felt stronger, more powerful, more unstoppable than ever? Most people, it comes to mind right away. If it doesn't, that's okay. Think about it. But so for me, that was my labor story, my birth story. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but just so you know how cool it was, my second daughter came so fast that we didn't get time to go to the hospital. So I delivered her on my own, by myself, no one else in the room, just like did what a mom's got to do. And my husband walked in, was on the phone with 911 and was like, she's holding the baby. Like she gave birth to the baby all by herself. And it was so scary. But after that, all I could think was like, I'm such a badass, you guys. Like, I delivered my own baby. Like, this is so cool. And now I'm like, oh, I have to do this Facebook Live. This is terrible. And I'm like, wait a second. You delivered your own baby. Like, this is going to be so easy. And all of you have a moment like that. Like, you crossed that finish line and you did it like with a sprained ankle or whatever your moment is. And then all of a sudden, that thing that's standing in front of you goes from being like this big to like, I've got this. This is not that bad. And the thing about this is, so I can share it with like so much humor now, but I was terrified. I was so scared. I was sobbing in that moment. And I was a little bit angry. I was like angry with God. How could you do this to me? How could you leave me on my own? And then after like we get to the hospital and she's fine, I'm like, oh, now I get it. Like now it's, what is it? Hindsight 2020. Like after the fact, then it all makes perfect sense and it's all super clear and you totally get it. And so those moments that we had them for a reason. I really believe that all of those moments, and there's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of turmoil that happens to get us there. Even if you're training for like some kind of physical thing, and a lot of these are going to be physical because it happens in our body and that's what makes us feel so strong. But It's because I think it's to remind us of our power. It's to remind us of our strength. And so those are gifts, and we need to be using them. We need to be coming back to them. We need to be sharing them with other people. We need to just be remembering them on a daily basis. So if every day you start your day with taking a couple deep breaths, this would be so powerful if I did this, and I don't ever do this, but taking a couple deep breaths and remembering your power moment, you will have the best day ever. And then you do it again the next day and the next day and the next day. So we're going over time by just a little bit. Actually, not really. Like, we're right on, it's 6:40 my time, so 9:40 your guys' time. But those were the things that I wanted to share. I'm going to share some links really quickly. So for those of you who want to chat with me one-on-one, I'm going to give you my personal calendar link. So you can click on that. You can save that. Again, if you don't click on it just yet, I'll send it to Emily and you can click on it whenever. The next couple weeks are a little weird. Like, my normal work days are Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but we have funky things going on. So there's like random Tuesdays and stuff. But it's my gift to you. This was so much fun, such a pleasure. This is the Fearless Mom Guide. I'll send you the link to this. So it's set up as a basic opt-in. I'm not super spammy. I don't even have like an official newsletter set up. So you'll get your guide and then you probably won't hear from me for a while. So I promise I'm not going to be in your inbox every day like, oh, why did I sign up for this? But this second link, the Fearless Mom Guide, it'll give you the PDF. So you'll have it in your email. You can come back to it. You can print it out. And then this is, I'm throwing a lot at you really quickly. So again, I'll make sure you have all of these links if you don't click on them or you're not writing them down. This is the Fearless Mom Tribe, if you wanted to check that out. And just so you know, if you're not a mom yet, or you never want to be a mom and you just want to be in my energetic vibration, in my orbit, we have a handful of women in there who aren't moms, but who are my clients, and they just want to be there and they like it and they like the vibe. There's a really good vibe, a good fun energy in there, and you're all more than welcome to join. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Let me unmute. I'll unmute everybody, or I don't know if there's stuff going on in the background. Does anyone have any questions? Anything? No. So I did an amazing job of just making it super clear and super, super powerful. Yeah, this was so much fun. Emily, do you have anything?
No, I don't think so. But what I would encourage everybody to do is to just take, a couple minutes afterwards. And I need to do this. What's my immediate application? Like, what am I? Because I can listen to all of this and say, well, that's good, but am I going to act and use? And because I think we can all find areas in which we can use it.
Yes, I love it. Do we have the time for everybody to share one thing, or do you want that to be an action step that you have them post in the group?
I think we have a moment, as long as if anybody needs to hop off, they can hop off. So
yeah.
Okay, Danny.
Yeah. No,
I'm my answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, take a minute. Let's do this then. Take a minute to think about, so the steps we went through was using that guide. So that's not something you're going to do every day per se. That's when you're faced with something that you're freaking out about. So that's something you'll use maybe once a week or once a month. Remember, it's not about you, but getting into state, like you might want to go ahead and create your high vibe toolkit. You might want to plan on doing something every day at the start of your day that's going to help get you into state. If you're not already doing, that's probably going to be one of the most powerful things you can do, actually. If any of you, you're probably not, but I'm just going to say this, and if you do, no judgment. If any of you are starting your day by going on Facebook, Instagram, or checking your emails, and I'm saying this from experience, I'd be laying in bed, my alarm would go off, I'd grab my phone and I'd get all updated on what was going on in everyone else's life. And then I'd get out of bed and instantly feel icky and heavy and drained. So one of the number one things that I've learned through creating a really awesome morning routine by getting into state is not allowing myself to go, like, I use my phone to do a daily devotional. I do not check my emails. I do not go on Facebook or Instagram for a minimum of 30 minutes. and the energy in my morning is totally different. So I purposely start my morning with things that make me feel really good. Devotionals, YouTube videos, super inspiring TED Talks, because I just love learning for the sake of learning. So then by the time I am ready to go on Facebook, for my business, right? And it's hard because a lot of us use social media for our business, but it can be really draining. I would recommend that if you can't think of anything, I want you guys to all choose getting into state, doing something that's going to get you into state. And I think it makes sense, but all getting into state is like, how do you want to feel? Right? Like you want to feel energized, you want to feel excited, you want to feel powerful, you want to feel inspired, and then do something, even if it's one small thing, that's going to allow you to feel that way. Okay. So think about your answer. That was just a suggestion if anyone's struggling. And then everybody share something if you can.
So I'll start.
Yeah.
First, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, my absolute pleasure.
Lots of things that you shared definitely resonate with me in this sort of place that I'm in right now and have been in for months, if I'm honest.
Totally.
Still trying to kind of figure that out. But interesting what you just said before I hopped on and said I would speak. One of the things that I'm committed to starting when my kids go back to school, which is in a week, is this this guide. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. But
Danielle Laporte is my favorite. I have a signed copy of that. Like her signature. I met her. Yeah.
Very cool.
It's amazing. It's so awesome.
So this, for the rest of you, this is called the Desire Map, a goal to creating goals with soul. It says knowing how you want to feel is the most potent clarity you can have. Generating those feelings is the most powerful thing you can do with your life. So another friend of mine had recommended this. And Danny, I'm also a coach. I don't know if Emily told you that. I have my my professional coaching certifications as well, in life and leadership coaching, and my PCC certification through the International Coach Federation. So this is super interesting to me, and I'm excited to kind of read this and just kind of see what God's next step is for me and figure all of that out. So yeah, so thank you for giving us your time and your generosity. And I just want to acknowledge.
Get on my calendar, please. I just want to connect with you. Yeah, like if we could just share. I don't know if you noticed, so the very first thing on my High Vibe Survival Kit, it's a Danielle Laporte video. I highly recommend all of you watching it. Have you seen it, Emily?
Haven't.
It's so good. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds. I watched that every single morning when I was making the transition of leaving my full-time job, because that was so scary. That was the scariest thing I had ever done. Like literally walking away from something that had been my security, my fun, happy, exciting, lovable security blanket. And I was terrified, and I'd be brushing my teeth every morning watching Danielle Laporte tell me all these amazing things about myself. And I'm like, yeah. So definitely watch that, and I'll make sure that Emily gets the link for that.
Jen, what was the name of that? The Desire Guide?
Desire Map.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to
Yay.
do it, and
I'm excited for you.
Kind of action step, the whole getting into state thing to take. So I've been really working out my morning routine, combining what we've been talking about plus the miracle morning kind of stuff paired has worked really well. I didn't actually finish the book, but I've started putting that together. And so, but I like this idea of even kind of how am I starting my work time? Like,
yeah,
as one of my responses to, the question of what would it look like if you came from a place of fearlessness. And I think we might have talked about this on Friday too, was just that my work time would be more efficient, and like, just, I know exactly what I need to do and I'm doing it and I'm connecting without fear. So that's mine. And then I think actually an action step of talking about the power moment in our team page. I think that could be a neat opportunity just for us all, like you said, to.
It's so redundant, but it's powerful. It's so powerful. So definitely like do a Facebook Live in your group and talk about that and ask them, what is your power moment? And you can remind your people of that, you know, if they're struggling and you have their power moment written down, it's like, do you remember? Like you're not this little scared, like you're not, you're this, you've done this, you've accomplished this, you're powerful beyond measure. And that's why people have coaches have coaches, we all have coaches.
And so many of us come at this from a faith perspective too. And if we remember all the promises of God, who can do immeasurably more than all we ask for or imagine, and it's not about us. And in reality, when we make it about him and we turn that spotlight, you know, there again, it's a reminder of this is not for my own glory. And this, you know, ultimately, if I'm rejected, you know, all of those things, I think there's just that just adds that level that is immeasurably powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Elizabeth or Melissa, do either of you want to go next? I'll unmute you if you want to go. Oh, her mic was messed up. Okay, she's going to type to us.
Well, while she's typing, yes, I can share a little bit. There's something, I don't know if you have 2 minutes to watch, but there's something that I saw the other day. Someone had posted it. It was actually a Matthew McConaughey speech. I don't know if any of you have seen that, his Oscar acceptance award, but it kind of just made me think about what you were saying earlier about, you know, our biggest fears in life are usually things that are just in our head, or if they happen, we realize in the grand scheme of things, they're not that big of a deal, and having that priority, you know, why am I doing what it is that I'm doing? So I just wanted to show you, I have it pulled up here. If I can share my screen really quick with y'all.
It sounds familiar, but I could use a refresher. Jim Carrey also has some really powerful talks. Like, who knew Jim Carrey? And he's a big advocate of the law of attraction. He talks a lot about the law of attraction and being that which you want to attract.
Right.
All these celebrities, they have it, not all of them, some of them have it figured out. And they're typically the ones who are doing well in other areas of their life also.
Can you see this?
Yep.
Okay, let me just put this on for you.
There's some background noise. It sounds like TV.
Hold on a second. Can you mute this for a second?
There we go. Let's say, make sure we could hear.
This is boring. This isn't part of it. Here we go.
Wait a second. I can't see anything.
I was going to say, I just see a gray screen.
There's just a screen.
Oh, hold on.
And
there we go. Can you see it now?
Oh, I see me. I see me, yeah.
Hold on a second. Can you hear Matthew?
No.
There we go.
So we can always end up throwing it up in the team page too.
Yeah.
I'll put it up there.
Will you put the link?
What I liked about it, though, I will.
Okay. I want to.
But he talked about let me see. Where are we? Stop sharing my screen. There we go. But he talked about how, you know, first and foremost, he thanks God for just life in general, and that's why he's here. And then he goes on to talk more about that. And then the second point is about, you know, his parents and his wife and his kids, and that every time he walks out the door, those are the, you know, 4 people in his life that he's most concerned about being proud of him. And everyone else can go fly a kite, basically. But as long as those people are proud of him when he gets home from work each day, then he's done what he needs to do that day. And finally, he says, he was reminded when he was younger, someone asked him, you know, who was his hero, and to think about that and to aspire to that, to have him be pushed. And so in a few years, someone came back and said, you know, who's your hero? And he said, me in 10 years. So 10 years came, and that same guy came back to him and said, So have you met up with your hero? Have you caught up with him? And he's like, no. He's like, my hero now is me 10 years from now when I'm 35. And he went on to talk more about that, how, you know, his hero is always going to be himself 10 years from now, knowing full well that he'll never catch up with that hero or that ideal, but he always has something that he's chasing, always something that he's aspiring to be. Because he said, if you ever reach or catch up with who you're trying to be, then what's left after that? So you're constantly having to re-challenge yourself and kind of define yourself and what your goals are. You know, when you were talking tonight, it just kind of made me think that you kind of have to get your mindset into that state that you have to constantly be remotivating yourself, redefining your purpose, asking your why, and getting out of your head and out of your fear, so that way you can, you know, try to catch up with yourself in 10 years. But then when 10 years comes, hopefully, you know, there's a you in 10 years that you still want to be chasing after, and new goals and new people that you're wanting to reach. So I put the link up there.
I'm so glad you shared that. That is so relevant, but like such a great addition to all of this stuff. That really glad you shared that.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for taking the time to be here live. It was nice to get to connect with you a little bit. And then Melissa said, thanks, Danny. You're welcome, Melissa. I think the biggest takeaway for me is to acknowledge my fears, write them down. It's the teeniest, tiniest thing you can do, and it's so powerful. And realize that they aren't worth holding on to. Starting my day with some high vibe activity and then using that energy to drive my business forward. It's so true. And really, as you're going throughout your day, a lot of the stuff that we avoid, like connecting. We avoid connecting because we're scared of what someone's going to think or what they're going to say or what it's going to mean about us. Like, it always boils down to that, right? And that's what we all need. Doesn't matter what we do for a business. If you don't have real solid connections, you don't have a business. It's going to be hard to build one. And so we avoid or we procrastinate, and it's all because of fear. And so, allow yourself to use the high vibe stuff before you do a post, even if it's just a written post because you really don't feel like doing a Facebook Live, or you don't have the courage to do it just yet, or you're going to do a Facebook Live, or you're going to have a conversation. I pray before every single one-on-one session. I do some sort of connecting to God, and I remind myself that, like, I'm just the vehicle, I'm just the vessel, and I pray that he gives me the words and the strength and whatever the people or the person needs, that I have that I'm equipped with that. And so that's part of my high vibe. I could, my kids are going crazy, they're not eating their dinner, and I have to come in and talk to a group of people, and I do my prayer, and it makes a big difference. So use the high vibe stuff at the start of your day. But like Emily was saying, it's not just at the start of your day, but like when you're getting ready to shift into different modes, right? Like, we wear 1,000 different hats as moms and women and partners and business owners and career, like all the different things we do. And so you want to make sure you're intentional about those transitions and those shifts, and you're bringing a really clear intention and state to each of those. And so I really like that. Yeah, well, we went over time, and I didn't want to do that, and I'm so sorry, but I feel like it was worth it. And it was so nice meeting all of you. So you have the recording of this. I'll make sure Emily gets all the links. And I really hope that I get the opportunity to chat with every one of you. Chatting with women in business is my favorite thing in my business. It's my favorite part of my job. And I don't get paid to do it. I just do it because I like learning, and I like knowing what are we coming up against? How are we like relating to each other? How can I support you? How can you support me? And it's so brilliant. It's so much fun. So I'd love to get to know each of you a little bit more.
Thanks, Danny.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Have a great night.
Have a great night. See ya.